Greetings, everyone. My name is Zaire, and I am the owner and operator of Mystic Momma LLC. I am here for you, and I want you to be here for me. So in order to do that, I need you to hit that subscribe button down below or ring that bell just so that you can always be notified of when I'm going live or posting new topics for discussion. So ladies and gents, grab your tea and let's talk. All right, everybody. So before we get started into the wonderful and exhaustive world of womb wellness and birthing, I think it's important that you get to know me because I would love to get to know you as well. So during the course of this time together, please, if you have any comments, any questions, just drop them down below and I will promise you I will respond as soon as possible. So that being said, let's jump right in. I'm ZAIRE SABB. I'm a registered nurse. My specialty is pediatric ICU. I am also a birth assistant at the Atlanta Birth Center, and I'm also a student midwife. I've been in the medical field now for about 20 some odd years, not always as a registered nurse. My breakthrough into the medical world, so to speak, was actually as a paramedic. So there's not too much that you can ask or tell me that's gonna, gross me out or just make me run away screaming. So I'm there for you. On a personal note, I am also a herbalist with the American Herbalist Guild, and my training actually, well, you know what, let me start back. Let me go back. What got me to where I am now is this. I have actually been pregnant 13 times. Yes, I know, it's a lot. And it really all started right around pregnancy number 6, where I realized that I was having multiple miscarriages, or what they call continual miscarriages, and we couldn't figure out what was wrong with my womb. So when I went to my OB, she told me that I had what's called an incompetent uterus. And I know for a lot of sisters out there, that's what we're told a lot about. We have incompetent uteruses, our uteruses are tilted, and it just goes the gamut. So my OB told me that I had an incompetent uterus. And the way to reverse the incompetent uterus was actually to do a heavy metals detox. The other part of this is that my heavy metals levels were off the roof. During that time, the FDA has said that the recommended amount of toxicity for lead poisoning in the body was at a number 14, and my levels were clearly over 200. And that was one of the side effects of having lead toxicity poisoning, is having multiple miscarriages. And on top of that, I had high levels of cadmium, high levels of boron, just all, y'all, if I was to show you my lab results, it's like every single line was off the page or wrapped around the page and on the second page. It was crazy. So I had started a heavy metal detox, and that was my first opening, to say, into alternative medicine, or what they call now integrative therapies. During the course of that detox, I did hydrocolon therapy, I did hydrogen peroxide infusions, 80 milligrams of vitamin C infusions, y'all. That's a lot. And many multivitamin infusions. And once my levels started to come down, I was able to get pregnant again. So I'm gonna stop there in my history and we're gonna move forward just so I can bring it all together. Okay. So once I was able to officially detox, I was able to get pregnant again, and I got pregnant with my daughter. So just so you understand, 13 pregnancies, 3 live births, and I only have 2 left. And my 2 boys are, they try to think they're taller than me, but not quite, but they're close. So they're big, they're goofy, and for those who have teenage boys, pray for me. Y'all know what I mean. So continuing on. So that's my story. I had 13 pregnancies, 3 live births, 2 children, and a lot was based around having heavy metal toxicity, having an incompetent uterus, and then I had scar tissue wrapped around my uterus so tight that when my 3rd child, my youngest son, when I was going into labor with him, they actually wanted to scrape my uterus because I had so much scar tissue around it that as I was contracting, he was actually ripping my uterus apart. And for those who can imagine, that really wasn't quite fun. He was actually born at 28 weeks gestation. He stayed in the NICU for a little over a month, maybe even 2 months before he came home. And when he came home on machines. He came on an apnea monitor. We had to syringe feed him, you know, and for my NICU moms, y'all, I know y'all understand because I understand what you go through. So that was my life for the first year. And like I said, now he's good. Now, fast forwarding past all that, I really didn't think too hard about how much I had went through to get pregnant. Moving forward, starting to think about the foods I ate, the chemicals I put in my body, things of that nature, I started to develop other issues with my body. So mind you, my youngest son is 16 years old. After I gave birth to him, I was still having lactation. So every month for about 15 years, I would still produce breast milk. And that is not normal, ladies. I don't care what they tell you. If you are not pregnant and you are not nursing, it is not normal for you to have breast milk after the fact. Okay? So we're going to flag that. The other thing is that my body started to cramp and bleed in times when I wasn't supposed to. I would bleed when I would ovulate. I thought I had another period, but it wasn't it. It would just be for 2 or 3 days, and I would bleed during ovulation, and then it would stop, and then my menses would come on 100% a couple weeks later. But during that time, I had cramps, horrific cramps. And for those who knew me during those times, I'm sorry, because I know I was kind of evil during those times. But if I did not have medication that first day, baby, look, it was not nice. I was not nice. I had to have my ibuprofen, my Aleve, my Advil, something, because that first day, no, everybody was, the earth was being burnt down that day. I had trouble eating. I had trouble sleeping. I had massive, massive clots. I'm talking about clots that are like this big coming out. And I would bleed for, 7, 8, sometimes 10 days straight. Ladies, I'm here to tell you, that's not normal. None of that's normal, okay? I don't care what the Bible says. I don't care what the Torah says. I don't care what history says. We are not supposed to bleed that long and that heavy, okay? And let me tell you something about heavy. I used to have, okay, so y'all know how like you get the overnight pass, the 36 count? I would literally go through an entire pack, 36 pad pack, every menses. That is not normal, okay? I don't care what anybody tells you. That is not normal. That is too much blood. And I would have to wear that plus a tampon just to make sure I didn't overflow, while I'm at work, or overflow at night when I'm asleep. Okay, and there was even a point where I had to put a towel underneath me just to make sure if there was any overflow, it didn't get into the bed sheets. Ladies, that's not normal. None of that is normal. So with that, ladies, one of the things that I really want to talk to you guys about are the different imbalances that plague us. Okay, and I say plague us because the normal society will have you think that it's normal. And it's not normal. Even some of our own family members will let you know, like, hey, that's normal. That's just you. No, that is not just you, honey. That is other stuff involved. And you know what? There's a solution for it. Not everything that goes on with us requires surgery. Not everything that goes on with us requires hormonal therapy. Not everything that goes on with us requires some random new experimental drug to correct. That's not it. There's a much simpler, much more effective and non-invasive way to take care of our womb. So one of the things that I have started working with is womb wellness and what it takes to have a healthy womb. Another thing is that as an RN, I work in the pediatric ICU, and I've also worked in neonatal ICU. And I've seen so many kids that have imbalances because of their birthing situation. Whether it was births that had like a 30-hour labor, had a 20-hour dry labor, the mom's amniotic fluid was low, just there's all kind of things that go on in the birthing process, in the developmental process of pregnancy that causes children to come out and have problems. And it's unnecessary. You know, and the more I work with women as a doula, as a student midwife, as a birth assistant, whatever title you want to put on it, the more I work with women, the more I'm realizing is that not only have we turned our body over to science, but we're no longer trusting our own intuitive selves, our own divine selves to do what we were put here on this planet to do. The most natural thing on this planet is to reproduce. And we've been doing this without help, without science, without drugs for a millennia. 2, 3, 4, 5 millennia. We've been doing this, y'all. So true enough, there are certain situations that do require you to actually go to the hospital. But a lot of the stuff that goes on, if you just pay attention and do the work, you can have a successful pregnancy. You can have an awesome womb experience. You can have a good relationship, not only with your divine self, but with your mate as well. Because a lot of times the things that we go through, we project it out on our mate because we don't know how to deal with it. And then we end up putting them into a tailspin. And y'all, it's just a big mess, okay? Just a big mess of how everything just kind of snowballs downhill. So with that being said, I want you guys to join me for the next conversation. The next conversation, we're going to actually start with the anatomy of the womb, because a lot of people don't know what's there. A lot of women don't even look at their vagina, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's yours. You should know what everything on your body looks like at all times so that you are able to tell when there's a difference, okay? So, again, subscribe, hit the bell, stay tuned for the next episode. See you later.